Hi, how's it going, guys? Today we're going to be explaining my chat application. So, this is my chat messenger application. It's written in Java and it's uh it's like maybe 4 classes. So, we're going to go through it, and it's just going to be like an overview of how it works. So, follow along, and uh later on I might do a tutorial on how to build it, or on how to how to make it. We'll do it line by line code. So let's start. So this is a chat app GUI. So this is my graphical user interface, and it extends the application class. And here we are with the start method. So the start method creates the JavaFX application on the screen. So in order to be able to load it, I used an fxml document, which is just kind of like the graphical user interface code. So here it loads it. It creates the loader, the fxml loader, and disregard this. This is just kind of like for testing. And then here it's the path for the fxml document. So if we go to that document, it's going to be right here, fxml. Actually, so it's actually here. Let's see, and I might have put this in the in the wrong folder, but like I said, it's kind of just like I'm still finalizing the files and the structure of the structure of the files, and also I'm refactoring the code right now so that it's cleaner. So let's see, first scene 4, it's this. So this is the fxml file that is linked to that code, and here it just describes the layout width, layout height, and it takes in the elements of the GUI, so anchor pane, menu bar, button bar, and then inside the button bar there's buttons. And here you can see the text on the button is going to be send GIF. The second button is write to stream, and the first button is open stream. So that's about the gist of this file. But let me show you guys the actual app so you guys can see what it does. I don't know if I already showed it in a previous video. I probably did, but I edited it since then, I think. So here is what it's looking like, and you guys will see what the fxml did to the GUI. So here we go. Let's see. Check client. So the class that I made for the server is called chat server, and this is the server basically of this messenger app. Well, there's 2 servers, right? There's the client and there's the server and the client, but the client also acts as its own server to get data and send data. So let's open the chat client. So here it is. Let's see. So here you can see both of them, and one I made pink just so that you guys can see that it's the client, and I also like made the buttons different colors. Well, I was just experimenting with the things I could do with Scene Builder, which is a program to make your FXML files, but it's using like a drag and drop kind of interface. So I'm still not done with the interface. I want to make it a little bit cleaner, a little bit more modern. But here you can see this is where you enter your message, and this one's kind of missing it because I haven't finished it. But what we need to do here is we need to first open stream. So this is going to open the data stream so that data can flow. So here then you get a little message saying that the server started, the connection is established, and then the date and time. And so now this one, I need to open the stream as well so that it connects to the server. So I'll just click open stream, and here it is, connection to server established. So here on the terminal, you're gonna see all these little things, all these little messages, because I was trying to figure out some bugs earlier, but disregard them, they're not important. So let's see. So I'm gonna send a message from the server to the client. And actually, let me see. Oh, you know what? I actually opened the wrong one, the wrong file for the server. So let me see again. It's this one, chat app GUI. So here we go. And the reason I know is because I named the real one X server, and the other one didn't have that on top of it. So let's open the other one as well. Let's see. Chat client, chat client GUI. So here we're gonna open the stream, same as before. Open this stream, and then we're gonna enter a message here. It's gonna be, hey, are you free? And then you gotta click number 2, which is write to stream. And as you see in the client, it says the server sent, hey, are you free? So imagine this client just being on another computer. So just imagine it's on another computer, right? In this example, we're just running both of them here locally, but I can have this messenger, this client on my laptop, and this one, the server, on this desktop, and I can message them. I can message each other. So let's see, from the client, I'm gonna message them, yeah, I'm free for the day, and then write to stream. So now as you can see, it shows you that you sent the message, and on the server it says that your friend sent you, yeah, I'm free for the day. So there's your messaging feature. And I wanted to add a feature to send GIFs, and that I did here. So if we go to send GIF button, I'm gonna send this one, and it sends and it displays it, right? And it doesn't display it here in the text area because the text area for JavaFX doesn't display GIFs. So here what you get is a server sent you a GIF, and the GIF is here. And if you guys know Hispanic culture, this guy is Walter Mercado, and he's just he's like a, what do you say, like a mystic, like a horoscope teller in Mexican or Hispanic TV, and he's just like an icon. But I just found this on the internet randomly, and I thought it was funny, so I that's the GIF we're using. So it displays it on the server too that you sent that GIF. And okay, so now I'm gonna send a GIF from the client to the server. So send GIF. Oh, I think, let's see. And there we go. Why it didn't work right now with the other one was because it's the same GIF, so it didn't change. But this one, you guys can see it's Hal from, what is it, from Malcolm in the Middle. Such a classic show, right? So it says again, it says you send a GIF, and on the server says your friend sent you a GIF. So like I said, this area down here, I put like what is it? It's called a image an image frame, or image container. So whatever images are sent between these two are displayed down here. So it'd be ideal if I had it here in the text area, but I didn't really do too much research on how to make it do that. And my preliminary research just said that you can't do it with a text area. So I settled for this, and you know, it doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good. So that's about it. What this app does. These two little apps. So let's dissect the code. So let's see. So I have Rhino right here on the side. It says like I have all these classes, but all these classes were just kind of like testing classes, or like either I started with one class and then I went on to modify it over several versions, and I didn't want to lose the original copy, so I just copied and pasted and modified the old version to a new file, and just went on like that. But I'm planning on cleaning it up either today or a little later, but I have it on my to-do list. And actually, let's see. So here we are. We were at the FXML, which showed you that. And the input stream, you have to have an input stream for the FXML document. And here, basically, the scene, the root, and the primary stage where the scene is set is basically setting the FXML document as your graphical user interface. So that's pretty much it right there. And here is just when I close the window, I wanted to exit the system, or not the system, but the program. So I made this little function here where it's just system exit, and it returns a 0. And here, primary stage set title, it's just sets the title for the X server. So this is just kind of like, this is just the graphical user interface. And right here, you just show it, right? Show the interface. So let's go to the next file. the next file we're going to look at is this document, the fxml document. I know we already showed it, but there's a thing there that is essential to how the program works, because the fxml document has a link to another file, the file that's going to make the GUI work. So let's go to first scene 4, because that's the name of my file. So here, this is important. Right here, FX controller, that's the thing that's going to control the GUI and the buttons and everything, right? So that file is going to be called, it's in my com example, chat messenger reel server controller. So this fxml file is going to look to that file to see the functionality. So I'll open that in a little bit, but let me show you where it would be linked to a function in that server controller. Let's see. So for example, in the controller, there's a function called send GIF. And so on this fxml file where the button is at, in the on action, it's gonna event handler for the clicking of the button is gonna send action to send GIF, the function in my server controller, or I don't know if it was server controller or yeah, server controller. And same with this one. There's a function in server controller called right clicker and open data stream, and you can see here the text of that button or those buttons is going to be send GIF, 2 write to stream, 1 open stream. So that's basically that. So let's go to the file that links to this file. So it's going to be server controller, and we have it right here. So server controller extends server, and server is another class that I made. So server controller is a class that I made, and then server is another class that I made, and it extends that class. So let's go back to server here, and this is kind of like my basic server class. So we have a variable object, or yeah, a variable object called data output stream, no, called output to client, which is a data output stream type, and we have the input from client, which is a data input stream type. Then we have a server socket, and we instantiate it to null, a socket instantiated to null, and a message from server instantiated to null, and it's a string. So basically my thinking here was that I needed a server class to give me the basic functions to start the server. So here we have the public method, or the constructor, and right here we have set server socket, which is just the setter method for server socket, set message from server, and I guess I didn't use that method, so I might have to look into this. And then I have set socket. So these are just the setter methods, right? Setter methods. I probably need getter methods, but I haven't done that. It's like I said, I need to review this code, so that's what we're doing right now. But this is just kind of like an explanation for others as the code, like the code as is. But I plan to come back to it and clarify and refactor the code. So from here, this is just the server, right? The server class. We were in server connection, or server controller actually. So server controller extends server, and in the server controller I have a server, a text field, a text area, an image view, and a primary stage. And what this fxml thing tag does, it just kind of links the fxml, or tells you that this method is going to be, or not this method, but this variable is going to be tied to the fxml file. So we have the public constructor, which just makes a new server. And here we have, this is what we would need the controller for. So we would need to get the write clicker. So this is to write the data. And here it's important to have it synchronized because since it's a threaded application, a multi-threaded application, we're accessing some of the same variables at different times, but because they're at different times and or different times, but how to explain this? Basically, a variable is accessed by multiple lines of code, and if I don't make it synchronized, the variables can be erratic. The values of the variables can start to become erratic because the methods aren't synchronized. And what the synchronized keyword does, it just kind of blocks the variable until the method is done modifying it, and then it releases the block or the lock, or the block and the lock. It releases the block and the lock, and then the next method that modifies the variable can access that variable now modified, and there's no issue, right? But if I didn't have it synchronized, they would try to access it maybe at the same time, or not like sometimes the method doesn't finish accessing it when the other method tries to modify it, and just strange things happen when you don't have it synchronized. So that's why we have this synchronized keyword. So that's the right clicker. This is just to write the data to output to client, and if we see output to client, output to client is actually a let's see, from server, so yeah, output to client, let's see, server output to client. So this is this output to client equal output to client. So let's see. So here, we're gonna come back to this one just because I think in the other class, in the server connection, that's where this is used. So we have the write data method, which is also synchronized, and this writes the message to the stream. This writes the data to the text area. And this method here opens the data stream, and it's connected to the fxml file, which is the server controller. and this is update text area, so it just updates the text area. And here, send GIF, it calls the GIF processor method, and it takes these the data streams, the GUI, the image view, and the text area. So this is just this is a send GIF button functionality, and this is the GIF processor. This is the main kind of processing for the GIF into the data stream. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna come back to these methods once I'm explaining once I'm done explaining some other stuff. So that's the gist of this one. This is the server controller, and this is what controls the GUI, and it's linked to the fxml file. So now let's do, I think, server connection. So here's server connection. Server connection makes the thread. It's a thread that makes the connection from server to server. So it opens the ports, and it just opens the data streams. So this is the public constructor, and it has two variables, chat server 2 and chat client 2. The 2 is just to, for me, for reference, since I was kind of using the same variable names in different class files, right? Because they're so similar. So I just put a number 2 so I can identify it. So you have the server controller and the client controller. But yeah, like I said, the number 2 is probably going to be reformatted, refactored into something a little bit better, or a lot more better, or a lot better. Let's see, server controller and a client controller. So it has a server controller and a client controller variable. Here is a public constructor server. It takes a server controller and it uses chat server 2 name to input it into the chat server, into this .chat server, which is the class variable. But I think here, let's see. I think I forgot a public constructor for chat client. So I might need to come back to that. Or actually, here it is. Never mind. Yeah, here it is. Client. This is the client public constructor. If you have the client, or if you want the client instead. And then here you have your run, your thread, basically. So disregard these little messages. They're just for me for debugging. I'm going to delete them. But for now, they're staying because I might still need them just to for testing. Let's see. So the run method creates the connections. So here we are. If I have it's synchronized and I have If the chat server 2 is not null, create the socket. And here we have else if chat client 2 is not null, create the client socket. So here it's kind of just saying, like, depending on which constructor you used, it's going to create the socket either for the server or the client. And here I need to review for the client. I need to review why I didn't just put this method in there, create socket. So I need to review that. Like I said, this code isn't perfect. It's kind of just, it's not rough either, because I cleaned it up a bunch, but it still needs work to make it even better. So this just opens the socket at localhost port 8000, creates the data output stream and data input stream if it's the server, and if it's the client, it creates the same input or output streams. And again, I think here I could probably reduce it so that it just does the create data output stream, create input stream, since I don't think I need these if and else if statements, since they both do the same thing. But maybe I do. Maybe I'm just glancing it too quickly right now. That's what came to my attention right now. Then you have the exception handler, and here we have a while method that just says if there's more data in the data stream, then if there's more data in the data stream, then keep reading it and keep printing it. And first check if it's a text string or a GIF. And we marked these with a 1 and a 2. So the data output stream writes a 1 to the bit stream or a 2 to the bit stream. And that's how you can tell if it's a GIF or a text message. And then it says, so here it just kind of says if this is just for the server and this is for the client. It does the same thing basically. This method just differentiates if you need to do it for the client, read the messages for the client, or read the messages from the server. Print message just prints the message to the text area. See here, it says friend and then the message, server, then the message. And again, if it's the server, yeah, if it's the server, the messages incoming are going to be labeled by friend. If it's a client app, it's going to name the messages server. Then we have create socket, which we saw earlier. Read message, which is self-explanatory. This is just reads the message from the data output stream, data input stream. And here, create data output stream creates the output stream from the sockets for the server and for the client, or for the server or for the client, depending on which constructor you use. Create a data input stream for client or server, and then the read GIF function, which just reads the GIF data. And this is kind of, it's not too complicated. It's just what you need to read a GIF. But yeah, that's about it for this. And that's basically, I think, the whole thing. We have the server controller, server connection. Let's see where we use the server connection. So we have the chat app GUI, chat app GUI. So how does it start the server connection? How does it start the server connection? It goes to the fxml file first, and then from the fxml file, server controller is called, and from here, first thing that is called, well, the first button they have to click is the open data stream. Remember how we first clicked that button in the GUI? So that button is linked to the fxml, or the fxml button is linked here to this function, and that opens the data stream. And here it opens the server connection. It makes a thread to use the server connection that we just came out of right here. This is the one we were explaining, remember? The server and the client, the chat server or the chat client. So it makes that thread, and it prints that the connection to the server was established, right? Then we have send GIF button, which is linked to the GIF processor method, and that is linked to, let's see, well, the thread, this GIF processor writes it to the data stream, and the thread of the data stream reads the GIF here. Okay, and yep, that's basically the buttons and the GUI, and basically went over the functionalities and the fxml, and that's basically it. I think it's like 4 classes. Let's see, 1 2 3 4, no, oh wait, yeah, that's the chat app GUI. Yeah, so 1 2 3 4 and 5, so it's 5 files for each app, the client or the server. It's 5 files. I have the chat client GUI, which is kind of the same as the chat app GUI, but it's the client. So we don't need to worry about that. But basically all the files that you saw here are used in the client app as well. The only difference that separates the client from the server is the server connection. Either for when you want the client, you instantiate a server connection with a client, with the client controller, and when you want the server connection, you just instantiate it with a server controller. So that's the gist of that. So that was it for this overview, kind of brief overview of the code here. And like I said, I'm still refactoring it, still trying to make improvements to the code. and cleaning it up so that there's less confusion. But yeah, that's basically it if you guys wanted to know how that app works. And I might do a tutorial uh, if you guys want to see how to build this for yourselves, and I can start it from the beginning and we can go line by line typing it out, and we can create the same app from scratch. But that's if there's people that are interested in that, I'll do that, and maybe I'll even put the code on Git so that, or on GitHub so that you guys can see it there. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.